booze to the end. Not your booze, but your boo. Please hold those until the end of the episode. I'm Rob. Hit subscribe. I'm going to bring you some information that you probably can't get anywhere else. Maybe you can, but in this same format, in the same delivery, I don't think so. As you know, I have my old reliable, my deep fake glasses. I'm able to detect any deep fakes with these. I found these in the Church's Chicken parking lot, and I scooped them up, threw them on, and I was able to disseminate. I had discernment. Once I put these glasses on, I had discernment for what was a deep fake and what wasn't. Maybe I'll paywall those and sell them. But hold all of your booze, all of your dissenting until the end. I'm asking in a presidential fashion. If you don't know, broadcasters have been asked to refrain from revealing any dissent. Come here. Come here. Come over here. What are you doing? Yeah? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Besides purring a lot, what are you doing? Yeah? What are you doing? You causing mischief? Go. Go and play. So, sorry about the interrupt. Maybe we should just start this whole thing over. All right, ready? Take two. All right. Hold your booze till the end. Can you, whoever works in post, I don't think I have post, but whoever works in post-production, could you just edit that first part out? And just, here, we'll completely start over. And I'll just have post pull it out. Is that how live streams work? I'm not sure, but maybe in the future I'll have AI clones. So yeah, hold all of your dissent till the end. You may know, or you may not know. It's a very, very sunny day. Was that 3 or 4 bells? I don't know how many you're supposed to chime on Sunday, but you can hear them ringing all over the friggin' place. So welcome to this very, very Sunday edition of the Rob Hood Vision Quest. Hey, what's up, Solus? You could edit them after the live stream ends on YouTube. They have an editor. Interesting. I didn't know that. I will not do it, though. Titan Cam edits. Oh, there's Titan Cam. Old Titan Cam. Skibbity Rizma to you, and a Skibbity Sunday to you, Titan Cam. We're going to go over some stuff. We're going to travel the world today. We're going to go to Austin, Texas, listen to a little Joel Osteen, and listen to his sales pitch of why you should keep coming back to his church. The golden information. I think that's why people subscribe to other people on YouTube. I know Paul Bet Davidstone, PBD, the PBD Hour. Is that what his podcast is called? The Valuetainment is what he called it. So much like YouTube does, I figured here we have edutainment, educationtainment, edumatainment. We have edumatainment here. That is education, entertainment, forged into one. You might know Paul Bet Davidson, Patrick Bet Davidstone from his multi-level marketing schemes. You might have heard of him from those. And now he does a valuetainment podcast. And I assume people subscribe because he brings them value in their attainment. Still trying to figure it out. But here, I figured we could do one better. We could do edutainment. So here we're doing edutainment, where we're educating you, entertaining you, educating. At some point, the line is going to be blurred, and you're going to go, I don't know if I'm being entertained or educated. Really, it's my vision for all schools in America. Is the stream a little laggy? That's on YouTube. That's not on your end or on my end. That would be YouTube. YouTube, could you fix that, please? Okay, they're gonna get right on it. Thank you, YouTube. They answer me right away. All right, what do we have today? Yep, that's what I thought. I'm gonna get a pet crow. I don't think you're legally allowed to have one unless it like follows you home. I'm pretty sure that's international law of how you're allowed to get any pet. Like if it follows you home and technically you go inside and you're like, Ma, a crow followed me home. Legally, they can't, they can't part you two. But I don't think you're allowed to have a pet crow. I don't know. Is anybody in crow law? Anybody good at bird law? I know Charlie is. I have a pet dog, Crash. Me too. Ever been to Maine? On purpose or accidentally? The Acadian carpenter. I do love Maine's Graham Plattner, the old oyster farmer turned politician. He's fighting the oligarchy hard. You know what? Before we get into our very Sunday edition of the Rob Hood Vision Quest, I was going to bring up people learn better when you bring up. That's not it. That's not it. That's not the one, guys. Here's the one. People learn better when you have visuals. That's what they taught me in sales college. I said, no phone sales. You have to get in front of them if you want to sell those knives. So I always stay true to that. King J is here. Of course he is. Either I live down the road from Graham. You do? And you've heard of Graham. I'm very excited. I wrote his people and they wrote me back. That's the end of that story. It's not a very good one. I won't tell it on the Crash Kings podcast that I go on later. I've been to Maine, but not to like do anything, like I drove there. And I used to go to Maine a long time ago. I used to go deep, deep, deep up in the woods to Maine. Long time ago. Maine is not far from where I live. He is a wicked nice guy. And if you don't know who me and the Acadian carpenter are talking about, Graham Plattner. He's making waves, folks. This is going to be the new king of British America, or whatever we're calling ourselves now. I'm not really sure. Some people are trying to implement the king. So I'm like, how does that work? Is that still every 4 years you have a king? I used to party with the Boston Rob back in the 90s. Well, back in the 90s, I was not him. This was a whole transformation. It was very expensive. There wasn't much gender affirming. There was a lot of gender unaffirming. I wasn't like an Elon Musk where I had to, I have hair up here. I don't have to put any up there. See, now the hair's coming in my face. But cheers to you. If we partied back in the 90s, were there heavy drugs there? Because then it might have been me. I'm just kidding. Is this recorded? Is this on? Hello? But the Acadian carpenter and I were talking about Graham Plattner. I talked about him a couple weeks ago or a week ago. You can go back and watch that video in the Rolodex. I'm worried about the youth, I'm just going to take a time out real quick. I'm worried about the youth, that they're not going to know words like Rolodex. People used to have those, and you'd flip the papers back, and you'd look, oh, here's the phone number I got to call, and you'd pull it out, and you could put the paper back. I'm worried, kids. You don't know what a pager is, or a beeper, Anyways, lots of drugs, actually. Yeah, it was probably us then, Acadian carpenter, allegedly. Everything said in this is allegedly. I got the deep fakes on. We're going to get into some news in a minute. Huey! Hey, Rob, check out Election Truth Alliance and Smart Elections. They have some interesting information about the 2020 election. Huey, what did you say? Election Truth Alliance. I have this machine here. It's fucking incredible. You guys got to get one of these. I can type into this machine and find out anything. Is Joe Rogan an alien? Oh, wait, what did you say? Election Truth Alliance. Oh, a forensic audit of the 2024 presidential election. Is this where they talk about how Elon's little kid leaked the information that they weren't going to lose no matter what? If you just look at, here's the thing about, we're going to get into the news. We're going to, I promise you. But remember, this is a vision quest, okay? And on a vision quest, if you've ever been on one, I've been on a few in my day. That's why I host this, because you can't bring people on a vision quest if you've never gone on one. That's just international law. Don't get mad at me. Is it? I don't know. I'll check with the international lawyers. But if you look at the 2024 election, and if you look at Georgia and Pennsylvania specifically, those are blue states that weirdly went red. And if you look at all the threats to the voting locations and all the things that they happened to do, I would say not my president. That would be my answer. You know, and when you look at like Trump won 31.5% of the vote, Kamala won 30.5, and then like 30 something percent of the people, 36% of the people didn't vote. I don't know. Definitely doesn't have the landslide majority like Stevie Nicks once sung about. Was that song? Landslide majority. I don't know what that song was about. Love the stream. Just quickly, any tips on how I can get my dad to stop using Super Jealous every time my sister and I do that together? Well, Gunter, your dad's right. He should be super jealous because obviously your whole family is demented. And I don't know if your whole thing is like, I go around the interwebs talking about my whole family doing stuff together. And that is, oh, who got gun? Oh, Solus. It's a troll. I don't know. Hold on. Let me use the deepfakes. Ah, God damn it. Solus, you're right. They deepfake me again. If you're just tuning in, these are my deepfake glasses. I found them on the floor of a pottery barn parking lot, and I picked them up and I said, those glasses look cool, and I put them on, and I could immediately tell who was a deepfake and who wasn't. There was a lot of them. I still have yet to use this on the Joe Graham, the Jolio, the Polio Rogan Togram. What is he calling it now? The Polio Rogan experience, where he's like advocating for old diseases to come back. I don't know what he does, but are there really this many people in here who no need to know what a pager is? Oh, you do, Castle Mason. Once the cell towers go down, you're going to be coming right here. Trump for Epstein forever. Thank you, Crash. Yeah, there's so many people who are like, and they're all constantly on the internet. They're like, I love this Epstein guy. I'm so glad he's not releasing the files. Where's the meme I found? I have to now find these memes because some of these people, to prove that he's not one of them. And if you're going to, you know, like tell me you supported Trump in the chat, then, you know, you're supporting him. So, you know, I don't know what to tell you. I can't make life decisions for you. Did you see this? The Department of War. Let's go through some meme news before we get into the... I'll check out the election truth thing. Thank you. Check out Graham Plattner, the continuation of the stories we were telling earlier. They do investigations into the truth. They formed an alliance, apparently, for truth and elections. I like that. Because we should have that, you know, if we have any more elections. But just ignore all these, you know, 56-year-old men who come in here and wish they were on the Lolita Express. And, you know, they're the ones who wash away the Epstein files by saying, well, you know, it was just what rich guys did at the time. So ignore all those 63-year-old guys that, you know, got to buy their house off one salary and now tell everybody nobody wants to work anymore. We're just going to ignore them. Thank you, Solus, for cleaning up the chat. So just know, if you're going to, you know, support Trump, then you're supporting this. He won't prove that he's not a PDF file. Read the 33,000 files that have been released. Mr. Jones, those were already released before. There was no new information, but thank you. Thank you for trying. Come again. Let's go through some meme news. They want to change the Department of War. We've been talking about this all weeks because they drone struck a boat with 11 people on it with no evidence except for "trust me, bro." That's the new. They should put that in the Constitution and do an amendment. You know, that's what the amendments were for. They were like, oh, we kind of screwed up with that 3rd clause when they said all men are created equal. And then they were like, but then we did like a 3/5. You know, so they had to amend stuff. They should amend it and be like, you don't need, you know, any kind of proof. You don't need a jury of your peers. You just need somebody with more power than you saying, "Trust me, bro." You know, that's a good way to run a country. If you're a trust me, bro. Some of you guys are trust me bros. So now they're gonna just change the name, you know, because that was like people were like price of eggs, rents out of control, the job market's bad, and they were like, well, you know what fixes that? If we round up immigrants and if we change the Department of Defense to Department of War. So expect the job numbers to change soon, right after they change all the headings, all the paperwork, all the signs. They probably spray painted on the sides of tanks. They got to rewrite on the missiles. And once they do all the aesthetic stuff, you guys can expect the job numbers to go right back up. So exciting. Exciting. And I checked. This was not a deep fake. So this was not a deep fake, folks. This was a real one, as Adam the 16 says. Old Nashua, New Hampshire's own BMX King God. What else? Oh, wait, don't read this. Don't read this. This is a story we're going to get to. Don't read that. Here we go. Here's the story. Which MAGAs are here? Stupidest spelling MAGA. Yes, it is. But if MAGA's here, you guys are the party of censorship, right? I just can't figure it out because from silly me, but you guys used to talk a lot about free speech, and then I don't know what happened. Then it was like, we got to censor all these people who say things I don't like. It was wasn't you trying about taxing the 1%? Wasn't you trying? Who said trying? We did in Massachusetts. There is no try. Did you not listen to Yoda? Yoda said you do or you do not. That is the question. Or he said something like that. It was him or Shakespeare. I can't remember. No, in Massachusetts, we put a millionaire's tax, and it worked. And for you fearmongers that were like, oh, the millionaires are going to leave, I said, good. Get the fuck out of Cape Cod. Leave. You're ruining it. Your hoity-toity assholeness is ruining Cape Cod. And guess what? They didn't leave. And guess what? Millionaire's tax implemented, and millionaires grew by 35%. Believe you me. And then all kids in school in Massachusetts get free lunch, free breakfast. Nobody has to pay for school debt ever again. School lunch debt. I can't believe that's such an American word. School lunch debt. Great. And people are just like fine with that. Fine that that's a word. We had to create it because of America. School lunch debt. Well, it doesn't exist here in Massachusetts. Why? Because we tax the millionaires. We didn't even get to the billionaires. But they have to pay part of this tax. But we need to get to them. So we did it. And then if you're wanting to get a higher education and you want to get a bachelor's degree and you don't have one, you can get it for free. Any community college. So there is a thing called school lunch debt, and some of you guys didn't know that. It sucks. My 17-year-old is planning on joining the Air Force. I get that he was raised an Army brat, but military these days are not mine or his dad's military. That is true. That is true. And it does suck, but, you know, part of this country is endorsing, I don't know how, they're co-signing for this kind of censorship this kind of military. You know, when I was growing up, they used to send the military to poor countries. And now when I'm growing up, they're sending it to poorer cities. Well, they're not even really poor cities. That saying didn't work. We're gonna have to, you know, brainstorm that saying. But now they're, you know, when I was growing up, they used to send the military to foreign nations. Now they're sending them to, now they're just sending them to American cities. There's no catchy way to do that, but I got to get a catchy way because then people will remember it. American conservatives, when the school blank is blank. Oh my God, we suddenly have to take action. Well, listen, conservatives in America don't know what they believe in. I don't know how to put it lightly, you know, because they've just submitted to a leader. Dear Chicken Supreme Leader. So that's why I was wondering when talking about this news story, like, are they for free speech or are they for censorship? Because broadcasters have been told not to air the booing of Donald Trump at the U.S. Open men's final. And he doesn't look like that anymore. He is so old now. This is like his chubby phase, which he never grew out of. And I bring that up because this article talks about how broadcasters are censoring reactions to Trump. And they 100% are. This is not free speech. This is not genuine. This is censoring dissent, all to appease a tiny man king that can't handle any critique. If you've seen any interview with him, what does he do? He gets so upset if you don't ask nice questions. And I'm like, God. And some of you guys wanted to give him more power. So I'm sure when they introduced Donald Trump, they said, hold, please, everybody hold your booze till the end once he's left and out of the building. Now, they used to have to say Elvis has left the building because people were having like a Elvis reaction or something. I don't know if they were allergic or what was happening. And now they have to say Trump has left the building. Now you can boo, but don't do it out loud. Scream silently or you're going to hurt his feelings. Ash Autumn 499. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the efforts in trying to get people to see the truth. Ooh, I like that. And I like your kitty cat. I like that kitty cat avatar. That's cool. Hassan with 2 S's, not the cool Hassan, everybody, says, bro, it's not only Trump. No, the problem isn't only Trump, but the major one. It's like, you know, if you had a lot of things wrong with you, and one of them was like, you got to clear out your emails, but people around you were like, dude, your clothes are on fire. You would want to address your clothes being on fire before you went and logged into your email. I was like, let me, you know, I can archive some of this. I can empty the trash bin. I'm such a hoarder with my emails. So you're right. You know, I understand people say he's a symptom. Yes, America has, here, I'll bring up here. People understand better when they get it in meme form. They need the memes. That's what somebody told me. Okay? So here is America. Capitalism is paywalls. It's basically all it is. Paywalls for food, paywalls for shelter, paywalls for water, paywalls for medicine, required to be alive. And if you can't pay, you die. Take it further, they want you to rent everything. When I was growing up, if you bought a DVD, you owned it. I did a story just 2 weeks ago about Amazon saying, when people buy movies from us, stream, you know, on the digital movies, they understand that buy doesn't mean own. They understand that they're buying it as long as we own the licensing. This is not a joke. Go back and watch my live stream. So what the wealthy people are doing, Trump is one of them. Some of you guys sometimes like to brag. You guys like to go, you're just jealous, you're poor. And I'm like, I'm not jealous of that turd burglar who is knocking on Satan's door and we're just waiting for Satan to open. But these wealthy people who you elected to go help them, help his friends, all his business buddies. Well, he doesn't have friends, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. You elected a Nepo baby who never earned anything in his life. His dad gave him everything. He bankrupted his casino to go and pretend to represent you. Again, he supports the people who put up the paywalls. And like we talked about a little before, everybody was really concerned about the economy and, you know, how much things cost. So what better way to fix the economy than spend $1 billion on just changing the name of the Department of Defense? Or we could apply this to what better way to spend our tax dollars on using the FBI to black out his name from the Epstein files? Or what better way to waste our tax dollars than open an alligator Auschwitz or the $1 billion prison at Camp Bliss in Texas? Like, I'm sure once all these things are built, right, guys? Once all the things are built, then egg prices come down. Because everybody knows if you took Econ 101, I hear this all the time. If you just took Econ 101, you dummies, you would understand that once you change Department of Defense to Department of War, fucking egg prices shoot down. They go so low, like Donald Trump said about pharmacy prices, the cost of drugs. He said they're going to be 1,500% off, which if you are a math man, or a math woman, you understand that that means the drug companies pay you to take it. They were like, you have to take this money with the drug you need. That's how it goes. Because once you hit 100% off, would be, you pay no money. And after 100%, they're paying you. So everybody knows I mean, what a brilliant move. Talk about the art of the deal. Once you change Department of War to Department of Defense and use all the taxpayers' money, so now none of the buildings, you saw the videos, they're taking the Department of Defense, they're scraping it off proudly. We're getting rid of defense. Screw that, you know. And once all that's changed, guys, eggs are going to be so bountiful. Everyone's going to buy a home again, including you. I'm talking to you, you 20-year-olds. Get ready. Are you ready for a mortgage? As soon as they're done with this stuff, I don't know if they got to spend our tax money to change more names in the government, you know? Department of Defense. We're going on the attack, baby. It's the Department of War. And you heard it. They just admitted. They said, trust me, bro, that boat that we didn't have evidence or anything for, but trust me, bro, that was a bad boat, and we predators struck it with the drone, and everyone's gone. And I think eggs took a little dip after that. You know, once you start admitting to international war crimes, like, you know, I think eggs are like, whoo, whoo, whoo. That's how it does it in the stock. JCRVE, politics can't save us, only Jesus. You're right, but not the Jesus of the conservatives, okay? We're going to get into him. Don't you worry. I knew it was Sunday. I knew some of you were going to be going, oh, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And I prepared. Don't think I'm not prepared, okay? This is a very Sunday edition. We're going to get into Jesus. But the funny thing is, some of you, and you know who, okay, don't raise your hands. I don't want the other people in the chat to see you. Some of you have been perverting the word of Christ. I don't know how to put it lightly. You were treating it like, it was an old Epstein massage parlor party with just you and Trump there, which happened, according to reports. You're treating it like that. Because we can see here, I'll give you a little sneak peek. If you've never seen, this is a book called the Bible. You can get it for free at any hotel you stay at. They have them for free right in the drawer. And some bozo is trying to test God's wit. I'm like, do you not know he's God? He knows it all, man. He's like the smartest one here. They were asking him like who you're supposed to be nice to. I would have been like Pythagorean's theorem, like Pandora's box. I would have been peppering Jesus with the hard ones. What came first, chicken or the egg? Like nobody even tests this dude. They were like, who are you supposed to love? And he's like, or they were like, what are the most important commandments? And he's like, well, you shall love your neighbor as yourself unselfishly. I'm like, oh, you're asking the guy who's healing everybody. Like his whole thing is like, I'm going to come here, be really empathetic. I'm going to heal everyone. I'm going to hang out with the people you ass hats in society rejected. and I'm going to show them compassion and empathy. I'm going to be a living example of how to be kind to your neighbor. And who's your neighbor? Who did Jesus teach us your neighbor is? He's everyone. And these dummies were like, oh yeah, well, what's the most important commandment? It's like he knows that. He wrote that. He knows that shit. I'd be like, Jesus, figure this out. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? You know, I would be peppering that dude with some fire. You know, chicken or egg, Jesus, go. And they're like, what's the most important commandment? And he's like, well, love me, God, and your neighbor. And they were like, oh, I mean, it just tells you what the ancient human brain, it's very, the Polio Rogan program, the Jogram, Toe Rogan, whatever he's calling it, the Jogram experience, whatever, it's an insight, you know, to the people who are trying to stump Jesus. So don't worry. We're going to get there. Sorry. Let me get down to the comments. Reg 3305. We can tell you, he put the quotes on you, so he actually doesn't mean me, are kind to your neighbors. See, now hold on. And then he says, LOL, the layers of hypocrisy. So let me teach Reg 3305 something, because I would be fearful if you're in your 30s. 33, I hope it doesn't stand for your age. Because when you do the we can tell that you want me to not be in quotes. And then you go, are kind. You do the quotes on the thing you're being sarcastic about. Did you get me, Reg? Can you write in the chat if you understood that, stupid? You could just reply, me understand. Okay, Reg? Uh-oh, Reg's upset I'm calling them dummies. Well, some of you are dummies. If you stop bragging about how dumb you are, I wouldn't be calling you dummies, all right? I figured you wanted a pat on the back for being so stupid. I'm just trying to reward you. Isn't that what Joe Rogan does? I'm just trying to walk in his tiny little shoes. The guy is Keebler elf size. He's like 5'2". I've already repented, Lindsay, and it's not too late for me. Jesus loves me. He ordained me with such powers that I can call these racist, misogynist dummies out. That's why I was gifted these glasses from a Pottery Barn parking lot. But where is Reg 3301? Because he's not saying much else after we got him on the we can tell you, so he didn't mean me, or I would have done are kind to your neighbors. You know, but you can't fix stupid. I'm sure he's gone. Everybody else that's still here, you can hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're doing all sorts of things. Sometimes I'm a grammar teacher. Do you believe Jesus is a prophet? Oh, Russell, are you speaking about like how Islam sees him as a prophet? I believe he's the man-son of God who, in the mystery of faith, is part of the Trinity. Christianity is unique that it has a trinigod. It's a Holy Spirit, Jesus, and a God in the middle. It's like, you know when Iron Man and Thor and Steve Rogers all fought Thanos at the end? That was an allegory for Christendom. Did I use allegory right? Nobody's going to know. And because Google hasn't been invented it yet, nobody can know. Just remember I can set block terms. Yes, you can block slurs. Thank you, Soulless. But keep these people, don't do it a subscriber only chat, because some of these people we need to teach and reach, not in like the Epstein kind of reach. I got to keep pointing this out because a lot of you MAGAs, you know, you were all like, hey, prove you're American, give us your birth certificate. And we're like, hey, prove you're not in the Epstein files, give us the Epstein files. And a lot of you MAGAs are like, he doesn't need to do that. Crash. I don't know where Reg went. I think right now he's probably oh, there he is, Reg 33. So you still haven't seen my comments yet. Are you blind and dumb? Even if I was, Jesus would heal me. Suck it. Oh, and then we have the old Tim arc. We call this chestnut. You're doing a Tim. You're doing a little Timmy. Tim comes in and says, "Where was Biden in releasing those files?" That's a great way to distract from the guy who said, "Once I'm in power, I'll release them." It's a good try, though. You know, I like it. I hear it multiple times a day from people in the chat. So you're doing the thing he told you to do. You know, good. Keep being obedient. Keep being obedient. Hold on. Italio Candanisi, 81. So you're 43, 44, 400. There's a difference between being a racist and someone who calls something out. I don't hate people based on their race, but I can tell them that their religion is incorrect. What? I think, what? What? Racism is with people's race. A religiousist is with religion. Don't look that up. Thank you for your comment. Keep commenting, everybody, especially you triggered fascists, because this YouTube, they decreed it. With enough comments, I get to 1 million subscribers, so keep commenting. Less yapping and more toes, please. Chazo, this is the wrong live stream. You're in the wrong live stream. You want to go to the Toegram, the Toe Rogan, the polio experience, or whatever he's calling it now. My apologies, though. I don't do toe stuff here. Why did Trump get cover-up General Barr to handle it, MAGA? Oh, that's a good question. Old Billy Barr. He's got a long and deep history in the swamp. What do you think about the recent federal judges blocking DOJ requests to unseal and release the grand jury? Well, the grand jury doesn't give us anything. What we want is the files. We don't want the grand jury. We want the files. And we don't want the FBI blacking out Trump's name. We want them protecting the victims. See, you guys got all confused in the past year. Something happened in the past year where a lot of people were like, you know, we want to protect the victims and the kids. And then the victims did this huge, the survivors, my apologies, the survivors bravely came out and did this huge press conference. And all you guys are like, let's release the stuff where their names could be in it. It's just weird. All right, we got to get to some stuff. All right, have we warmed up? Are we warmed up, everybody? This is like the Joe-gram. This is the experience. Where is it? Nope, that's not the one. I'm sorry. Hold on, let's go through some more meme news. If you have health insurance in America, that's a funny question that you actually have to ask, because some people will be like, I just don't get it. I pay out of pocket and then I just don't pay it. Get ready, because we're facing the biggest increase in health insurance costs in 15 years. Now, I'm not sure if there's anybody who took an Econ 101 course in the chat, but does health costs going up make things less expensive? I'm not sure. Again, I'm not an Econ 101 guy. I was just ordained by Jesus to come in here and correct you MAGAs for supporting the Epstein files. That's all. Companies have surged past $1 trillion in stock buybacks already this year, enriching investors at a record pace. Now, again, I feel like I got to say this every time. I didn't take Econ 101, but do stock buybacks, which were illegal until 1982 when the Reagan administration legalized them again. And what stock buybacks are is that the company takes their profits, and because their CEO and a lot of the rich people have invested in their stock, and CEOs get compensation, not a salary, so people can bootlick for them and go, he only took $1 in a salary. Yeah, it's because what they're doing with the stocks is they'll take the profits, buy back their own stocks, so their stock prices surge up, even though their product didn't get better, they did nothing on infrastructure, their company's not in a better position. It's artificially inflating the stock price. That's why they were illegal until 1982. So is it bad for the economy that U.S. companies have put $1 trillion in stock buybacks, not paying their employees more, not doing anything for infrastructure, certainly not hiring people, but just buying their stocks back so their stock prices can be artificially inflated. That's why it was illegal until 1982. Now, I didn't take Econ 101. Can anybody tell me if this is good for the workers? Again, this is like an open-ended question, so if you're writing this down on your notes at home, just email it to me later. Poverty exists not because we cannot feed the poor. Oh, that's true. We have more than enough food to feed the poor. More than enough. You ever seen a dumpster outside of one of these U.S. companies where they throw all the food away because they don't want to sell it because it has a make-believe date on it? And they throw it away so the people have scarcity and have to buy the new food so we can feed the poor. But let's see what the rest of this Winnie the Pooh meme says. But because we can never satisfy the rich. Ooh, I love that when I was growing up, this was my favorite Winnie the Pooh episode. It was called the Free Luigi episode. It was good. It was from the 70s, and the 70s did cartoons totally different. So let's hit a little more meme news. If you're just joining us, I'm going to break down America for you. Capitalism is paywalls. That's it. Paywalls for food, paywalls for shelter, paywalls for water, paywalls for medicine, paywalls for internet, paywalls for news information. You know me. I'm talking to you. You know me. I hate going to the Daily Beast because they do a podcast on Donald Trump. So they have all this breaking information. And I go there and I get pop-ups. The pop-ups are shooting at my face, and they have banner ads, and they have the junk ads at the bottom. And then I try to read all the article. I get a paragraph in, and it says, pay us some money, or you can't have this information. And I go, why do you have all the advertising if you need my money? So this is capitalism. And if you can't pay it, you die. That's not me. You chose that. Okay. Now I want to take you to a meme that's going to show us the bright future we have in 2029. This is a tweet. My TV starts flashing red with an alert because I lied to Amazon Prime about how many people are in my living room watching Trolls 5. Then they send in 15 cops in riot gear and they kill my dog. I'm not allowed to shop at Whole Foods for 2 weeks. Welcome to your future, folks. And before we get into our Sunday service, I just want to remind everybody, Trump, what has he got? 5 kids from 3 women, cheated on all of them. Hegseth, 7 kids from 3 women, cheated on all of them. Musk, 11 kids from 3 women, cheated on all of them. And all 3 men accused of this. Now, my question would be, is this conservative values? That's my question. Are these conservative values? Or are these guys useful idiots for your agenda? I don't know. I'm just here asking questions, okay? I know the president made shoot the messenger a popular thing. You know, he fired that statistic guy, but I still believe in that ancient Roman motto, don't murk the messenger, as they used to say. Let's see. I think that was all the meme news. We might actually have to get into some real news. We might have to do it. Are there any cool people in the chat? Can I see? Are there any cool people? Tim Ark's still here, pulling a little Timmy. It would take $66 an hour to be able to buy a house and live now, as where in the 80s and 90s you could have one parent working $2 an hour equal to those 66. Tisha May 83. Have you been here before? Because you know what I say, right? Everybody who's been here before, you don't even say it in the chat. I say the minimum wage should be $66 an hour. And the other day I was trying to think of where I got that, and you might have the information of where I got the 66 an hour. If you're new here, I'm Rob. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm for one parent working. All the Republicans that when something horrible happens and they go, where are the parents? I like to answer that immediately. Oh, they're both working 2 jobs so they can have health care and live in a house. So if you believe in parents' vital importance to raising children, 1 job per household. Anybody who works a full-time job, which should only be 3 days a week by now, but some of you guys are such job Nazis. It's gross. 3-day full work week, 1-person household where you can buy a home, higher education, no medical debt, never call an Uber instead of an ambulance, and billionaires don't exist. We have a tax thing that says once you hit 999 million, every dollar after that goes to taxes. Goes back into the communities, pays for our health care, pays for higher education, make sure no kid goes hungry, make sure nobody doesn't have a home, that kind of stuff. So, and if you're against that, you might want to stay a little while because we've been trying it your way for decades. America has been doing it your way, and it's not working. That's why you're in the chat right now. Okay, you're in the chat because capitalism isn't working for you. I've never met somebody in the chat where they're like, this is the best. That's why I'm in the chat. Okay. And that's not my, I don't believe that. I believe you're all valuable. That's why I want you to have healthcare. When you have a baby, I want you to have 2, 3. What does Sweden have? They have 2 years paid leave. I think we should be better than Sweden. Right? How is Sweden owning us in parental paid leave? I think our corporations should be paying parents to stay at home with the kid until they go to kindergarten. Okay? What is that? 5, 6, 16? Some of you, it sounds like you're waiting to go to kindergarten. So that's what I believe. Okay? So I believe all of you deserve higher education. Some of you show it. No medical debt, and to buy your own home. I believe that for you. Even you, MAGA, even you, the guys that are like, we support the Epstein file. So even those people. So don't get mad at me. That's what I'm trying to do here. You guys are trying to poo-poo on me, but I'm saying I want you to live a good life. I want you to have multiple vacations. I don't want you to have to earn sick time. That's ridiculous. You've been propagandized to think like, I should work 30 hours to get 1 hour to be sick. So but I'll make an exception. If you're homophobic, if you're racist, if you're misogynist, then you don't get any of that. And I can tell. Don't forget. These are deepfake glasses. Sorry. I gotta get my racist glasses out, and I can pick you out. Who's saying a hoax? That is you know what? I don't like people saying hoaxes. The president has made hoax like his way to cope. He smokes a pipe of copium and hoax. Also, childcare is free under certain income. Yeah, but we got to vet the childcare system. Right now with Roblox and Donald Trump and Epstein, like, I don't trust a lot of people around the kids. So we got to do a lot of vetting, Can you run far, President? Goober, I can run pretty far, thank you, but I'm not the president. Even if his wife looks unhappy. Who? Donald Trump? All of their wives look unhappy. Have you ever seen Donald Trump try to hold Melania's hand? And she's like, oh, God, what do you get, the cooties? Poor guy. If somebody just hugged him, his dad didn't hug him, his third wife won't hug him, nobody will hug him. Ida Maria, you don't know nothing about Sweden, and I'm Swedish. Okay, so educate us in the chat, Sweden. But I'll tell you what, you're not going to own us with your rehabilitation jails and good time off and social welfare nets for your public. We're going to own all those Nordic countries. We're going to be on the top of the list when it says happiest places, happiest people to live. Melania said she doesn't like PDA. She certainly liked it with Emmanuel Macron. Old Manny Macron snuck one in on her. It's merely the difference between... What? What is going on in the chat? My Jesus, people. Hi, Rob. Hi, Karina. Good to see you. How are you doing today? Let's just take it. Everybody shut up in the chat. Karina, how are you? Not enough people just say hi to me, so I'd like to acknowledge that. How's your Sunday? Is it being a very, very Sunday? It's a very Sunday over here. Okay. We got to talk. People I work with who were in the USA got 10 days a year holiday and no paid sick leave. 10 days. Listen, I'll just tell you right now, if you're working at a job without a contract, when I had a contract, it was so sad. So when I worked in radio, I had a contract that guaranteed me 4 weeks of vacation plus sick time, all this stuff. You're fighting for a contract. That's why unions are important. But when I got brought up to the even bigger leagues in radio. My contract, I'm getting 4 weeks vacation time, and the boss, who was just a dick, Ron V, you was such a jerk, you're such a loser. Come on the podcast and tell me why you're such a loser. But this guy, he was like, no, you get 3 weeks. And I was like, this isn't for negotiation. I won't take the job if I don't get 4 weeks. And he said, well, the girl on the show, there was one girl on the show, he goes, she gets 4 weeks. And in my mind, I went, oh, so you purposely mistreat the girl on your show? Like, she needs to know that. And that was part of my job. That's why a lot of these corporations don't like me, because I come in and go talk about, it's federally protected to talk about how much you make and share this stuff. Because if there are 2-3 other guys on the show and they all get 4 weeks and the one girl gets 3 weeks and they would force her to come in when everybody else was on vacation and just do shit, that seemed like one of those women in the workplace things you hear about, you know? And I thought that was horrible. So immediately after the meeting, I went and told her and said, this is, bogus. And I still got my 4 weeks. But it's just the garbage of America, and there are people who perpetrate that and they want to keep pushing that agenda forward because they're like, as long as it's not me. And I'll tell you this, if you ever have a daughter or if you ever have a woman in your life that you love, you don't want them treating like that. But it shouldn't have to come to that. Remember, Jesus Christ, you got to help me on this one. Remember, what did Jesus say? The second most important commandment, you shall unselfishly love your neighbor as yourself. Just imagine everyone's your neighbor, folks. That's what Jesus is telling you, okay? That's what he's telling you. The crow of death. He's coming. My son is Ida Maria. Ida Maria. That's a very Swedish name. My son is a cancer survivor, and our government paid me 80% of my salary for 2 years, all his treatment, and they get free taxi to hospital, and treatment was free. I'm not crying over my 6-week paid. I think your phone cut out. Ida Maria. Do you hear that? She says she's Swedish, and this is coming from Sweden. Now, America, I need you to listen closely, because what are we better? What are you great? What are you exceptional? What is the land of the best, or whatever you call this dumb country? And it's become dumb, okay, very dumb, because I need you to hear this. Ida Maria said, my son is a cancer survivor, and our government paid me 80% of my salary for 2 years, all his treatment, and free taxi to hospital, and the treatment's free. And then she says, I'm not crying over my 6-week paid. I don't know what that means, but we can do better, folks. Sweden is making us look like a bunch of ding-dongs. Thank you for paid vacation. Thank you, Ida Maria. I appreciate your insights. And this is the thing. This is why I specifically try to do a show like this, because people from all over the world can say, hey, America, what is free? You say the land of the free, but Sweden got more free stuff. And then you have Americans who go in the chat and go, I don't want my tax dollars paying for cancer kids. Like, that's a real reaction. These people are, and then the real reaction later in the chat, they'll be like, you can only be saved by Jesus. Like, they didn't hear what Jesus said, like, love your neighbor unselfishly. I would say loving your neighbor goes, I want my tax dollars to pay for anyone's kid that gets cancer. That must be the most horrific thing to ever have to endure. So yes, that's what our tax dollars, like, number one with a bullet. Like, I want a receipt, and I want to see at the top my tax dollars saying help paid for all the kids with cancers, taxis, treatments, their parents to not have to work through that suffering. Like that, I believe Jesus would pat each one of you on the head if you all agreed. Mike F says, just two bald guys fighting over a comb. Appreciate the comment. That's a funny visual. I want my tax dollar for freedom, LOL. $3 billion to Israel per year. There's another one. We had tariffs. That was because of some kind of war or something going on. Then it stopped. Ida Maria, I want you to know that we all that all people could get sick or your child. We pay 33% in taxes, and medicine is for free for children to 18 and dentists. Well, see, and that's the thing. We here in America pay 22%, most of us, and the people with the most money, like the Jeff Bezos and the Elon Musks and the Teslas and the Amazon, they pay like nothing if they don't get a refund. They mostly don't pay taxes because they can hide it. And then Donald Trump comes in and says, well, I'm going to cut the corporate tax rate to 20%, which is less than 22. I didn't take an Econ 101 class, but most working people pay 22% like I did. And Donald Trump came in and said, Amazon, Tesla, you pay 20 now. Now, I don't know how in Econ 101 that makes working people have a better situation when you're cutting the taxes from people who don't even know what things cost, but it's weird. Our rich pay 50% taxes. Well, here in America, the rich used to pay like 70 to 90%, and then it just became a big crypto scam. Trump made $5 billion alone this year from presidency. Astro exclamation point. And the year isn't over. He could probably launch another MFT, another FTM, or whatever. Him and Toe Rogan. Crash. Rob, for the second time, just take out loans against all your corporations, and that way you don't have to pay taxes. God damn it, Crash. Me and Crash should teach a Econ 101 course where, first of all, you ask your company or you start a company and you pay yourself $1, and then you take all your compensation in stock, okay? So that way they can't tax it. And they're like, where's the money? And you're like, oh, it's in the magic thing. It's in the magic thing. You can't tax it. Thank you. Thank you, Crash. Hello, bro. Good to see you, Joshua Taft. K-R-A-R. Ooh, you got me on that one. Tisha, it's a class war. Thank you. However, you having the value to care about your neighbors, if you vote against their interests, they might have every right to get mad at you. Most have seen the light, though. That is true. It's a class. When you see, I think it's Tim Above Ground Pool, Tim Sauna, there's this little kid who does, like, his parents must have given him a YouTube studio or something and a little skate park. And he does this show, a showgram, if you will, kind of like I do. But his thing, he even puts on a little sticker on the side that says, the culture war, which is not a thing. In fact, if anything, it's a signal to say, like, I'm distracting you from the class war that's going on. Well, the rich, and this is not me again. You can just look up how much money have the rich got over the past 10 years. Have the rich gotten richer? And what about working people? Well, I can tell you, I'm one of the working people. It's gotten much worse. Like last year, I heard people talking about the price of egg before they voted. And I was like, that's why you vote? For the price of egg? I thought you voted for like policies and shit. I don't know, folks. But I can tell you, there is good news. Ooh, we're going to talk about this. Oh, yeah. Donald Trump said, you cannot show dissent. It makes him sad when he knows people can't wait for him to kick the bucket. Kick that fucking bucket. Kick that fucking bucket. He's so old. Where is it? And then we're going to talk about this. Remember Paula Deen? Some of you are too young. I remember her. And this is hilarious. They're doing a documentary because she was just a racist bitch, which is weird. I guess anybody can have a documentary now. They didn't need one because, you know, she's just a racist Southern lady. That's the story. That's the story. Hey, y'all, I cook with butter and say the N-word. And they're like, let's do a documentary on it. It's good entertainment nowadays, you know? The culture war, whatever they say. What was I trying to show you? I was trying to show you something. Whatever. I forgot. I'm getting the ADH dementia too. That's what Donald has. Oh, Chris Porter. You're clearly a white guy. That's my only reaction to that comment. Dump Trump before Trump dumps his pants again. Paula did say the N-word a bunch. And then they made a documentary about it, which is hilarious. I'm like, this is hilarious. Call it a church and you're tax exempt. We forget the people are the church, not the building. Ooh, this gives me a good moment to talk about old Joel Osteen, who blocked me on Twitter, all because I tweeted Jesus at him. And this is him on Oprah many, many thousands of years ago. This is right after Christ had, kicked the bucket, died of old age. How did he die? I think it was old age got him. Or maybe he was a smoker. However Christ died. I don't think it's important. I think the important thing is that you just use Jesus when you want to further your agenda. Or at least that's what some people do. That's what some people do. Not me. Not me. Don't get mad at me. And I used the deepfake goggles. And nope, that's Joel. Can you see him there in the reflection? That's Joel Osteen sitting right next to Oprah. This is not a deepfake, folks. Oh yeah, that's right. Savage Wolf. Sorry, he did. He died for our sins. He died of old age in his home, unmarried, for our sins. Thank you. Joel, plus he loved a good joke. I don't know if you knew that. The Bible doesn't talk about it much, and you're not going to hear this at your Sunday service, but at mine, because I am an ordained reverend, Jesus loved a good joke. Now, you might know this pretty nerdy dude, Judas, who hung around him. And you could tell, he was like the one dude who was always like, Ma, can I go with Jesus and his friends? And they were like, oh, God, Jesus. He's always tagging along. And then Judas sold him out for like 33 pieces of silver or something. And you could tell Jesus loved a good joke, because if he's God and he knew all that, like that was the original, what was his name? Ashton Martin. What's his name? The Where's My Car dude? What's his name? Ashton Martin? Parker Ashton? Mason something? He's got one of the millennial names. Jesus, what's his name? Does anybody know? Who did Got You? Pranked. What is it called? You Got Punked. That's it. You Got Punked. What's his name? Yeah, this dude. What's his name? Subject, wait, what's his name? Ashton Martin or something? Aston Martin? Why aren't they Ashton Kutcher? I'm sorry, not Aston Martin. That's his, this is great uncle, Aston Martin. Aston Kutcher. Cooch. They called him the Cooch. He did this show called Punked. And he actually ripped that off from Jesus and Judas. But that one went too far. And if you know anything about the Punked series, originally it was going to be much meaner. And they were like, this isn't going to fly on TV. And they were taking from that original Punked, where Judas sold out Jesus, punked him, and then saw the repercussions and went to the tree. Anyways, let's listen to what Joel has to say, okay? This is Oprah talking to Joel Osteen. Joel Osteen.
Televangelists have this reputation for being slick, going after people's money, and obviously not being sincere. Yeah. How have you been able to cope with that?
Well, knowing that, we try to go overboard to be just the opposite of everything you just said. And I realize...
You make joke.
Wait a minute. He said, I'm going to go overboard to be not authentic. What? Hold on. I got to... Wait, what?
Able to cope with that?
Well,
obviously not being sincere.
Not being
How
sincere.
have you been able to cope with that?
Well, knowing that, we try to go overboard to be just the opposite of everything.
So, I don't know how he tricked so many people. Oh, that's right. His dad had the church before him. That's right. That's right. Now I know how he got so big, because his dad gave him the position. That's right. Okay. So now we have that cleared up. Because when you hear an answer like that, when you hear Oprah go, people just think you're not sincere. How do you deal with that? And he goes, well, I go overboard on the sincereness. I'm too sincere, which makes people think it's fake. So, oh shit, you got me. Did you hear what he said? And he's teaching people at church every day? What is he teaching them? How to go overboard on the sincerity, because maybe people think you have all alternative motives because of the sincerity overboarding? Oh, God, I wish you'd waterboard me at this point. Jesus Rivera. I'm a Trump supporter who's not religious. Yeah, I don't think you could be religious to be a Trump supporter, you know? To support a dude who is friends with Epstein and talks the way he does about his owning Miss Teen pageants, I would think you'd have to be void of all kind of knowledge of Christ. So yeah, that makes sense. It checks out. Checks out. Checks out. So I don't even think we're gonna listen to any more of Joel Osteen because that was like stupid enough. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to plant stupid seeds. We're trying to plant seeds here, get people to, you know. Joel and Kenneth are evil. I know a good old man who loves them, and we get along besides this topic. Yeah, it's horrible. And when you hear the stories of people who sent in their seed to Joel, and their seed being money, because he can't say money, because that would be a little too on the nose, so he says, send your seed to me. Which is gross, because you know the Epstein and the Trump people were like, you really want my seed? But he says seed, and these old people like write him like, please Joel, take my last dollar. I'm just gonna eat cat food for the rest of the year, and I hope you're okay. And he's like, just throw it in the pile. Have you seen his mansion? He's doing this interview at his mansion, and later is like, Oprah's like, how do you kind of sleep at night with that grand piano over there? And he's like, really comfortably with some great music. Why? And she's like, I don't know. There's like people suffering down the street. And he was like, and how's that my problem? I'm overly sincere. I already told you. Jesus. And then he claims he got all his money from books, even though his church isn't taxed and he's like worth upwards of 50 million. I don't know if maybe I should tell everyone to become an author. Because if you're making 50 million, from what I know about people who write books, and I've only seen that one Jason Segel movie about the guy I love. I can't even remember his name. Infinite Jest. David Axel Foley, who was probably also in Beverly Hills Cop. But he didn't make a lot of money. But, you know, Joel Osteen, just the God's gift to the authorship of books. So, yep. So, yeah. Kenneth is the word, because people are gullible. Well, because they want to believe that, like, Jesus walked around when he was on earth, and everyone who couldn't heal, he said, if you just mail me a prosperity donation, mail it to my mom Mary at her house, she's taking all my mail, and if you just mail, so if you have faith and you send my mom some money, I'll bless you. Okay? I gotta go now, but you mail in that faith seed of money. It's money. Don't send me seeds. I know this is ancient times, but you send me a seed, no blessing. It's gotta be money. It's what they call the prosperity gospel, that if you donate to the church, God will donate to you. It's a big intake, which if you know anything about God, that's how he operates. He was like, what do I get out of this? I need some kind of sheep or lamb or incense or your money. You know, that's all. It's ancient shit. Don't crucify me, guys, okay? God. Mafia member said, quote, I wouldn't join the mafia today, but I would start a church. Yeah, that's true. Jesus never said build a temple. Peter was the rock. He's a person. Build people in the faith. That is all true. I believe most of that. Tisha May. Ida Marie. No, Tish. But it seems to me they don't care about you. He sent a cancer sick child home without parents. I've seen cancer treatment to me, so it's evil. Oh, we're talking about Trump. He did send a kid with cancer to another country, I think, without her parents, which, you know, if I don't know. I always like to say, what do you think Jesus would think? We really got to condense that down so people can wear it on a bracelet. But I always say, what do you think Jesus would say about that? And I try to remember all the letters, but it gets so long. But I think, what do you think Jesus would think about that? There's got to be a way to shorten it. Anyways, and I think Jesus would be like, no. Tish wasn't talking about Trump. He was talking about churches today. Churches today build these great cathedrals with stained glass and spend hundreds of billions of dollars to go, look at me. Look at me. They're the pick me of society. Ooh, look at me. Pick me. Come to my church. Donate me money. Where it's like, Jesus didn't build any churches, guys. Sorry, he didn't. And maybe you're like, well, he was becoming an architect. He was a carpenter. He was going to architect school. And then all that stuff happened. when he was 33, we don't talk about. We just wear it on our necks. Bro, nice costume. Randy is here again. These are my deepfake glasses, and I can tell you are not a deepfake. This is the Randy that loves Epstein. He loves defending Donald Trump, defending Epstein, and he's here all the time. It's kind of creepy. I gotta say, it's kind of a little creepy, but it's okay. He's trying to, be deprogrammed. The politicians, he thinks they love him, and we got to convince him, like, they're not working for you right now. It's okay. Wait a minute. Solid Dust said, nope, the original believers did not wear a cross. How do you know? Were you there? Because I'd like to think after he was crucified, that's how the cross started, guys. After he was crucified, Mark and Paul and old doubting Thomas, after he stopped doubting, of course, he put his finger right through Christ's hole. Oh, that's not how they phrased it in the Bible, is it? But I'd like to think they all got together and they were like, guys, how about everyone wears like a cross so we can all remember what happened here today. And then people just start, then you see people like Carrie Levette, the White House lady, she's wearing the biggest cross. She's like, I always remember what Jesus did. It's like one of those bracelets. What do you think Jesus would have thought about this? But it's in a cross form, and you don't even have to put letters on it. You can just look at the cross and you go, oh shit, I forgot about that dude. So that's why, like, you see these people out there wearing the biggest, you have to wear the biggest cross, Obviously, Flavor Flav worships time. I voted Trump and Epstein was a slap in the face. Tish, you can't say that. I mean, you can say that, but I don't know how to react to that because I don't want to be that mean, but, Donald Trump was doing interviews in 2002 about how he was good friends with Epstein, and he's in the files, and we've all known this. I've hated Trump, before the whole presidency thing, when he was doing TV saying, you're fired. It was like, fucking lame. And then before that, when he bankrupted the casinos, and before that, when he ran an airline and a water and a steak company, and then before that, when he was just his daddy's little handyman in New York, and he had all these buildings that he would go around and manage and say, like, I did the best deal for my daddy. And it was coming out that, oh, he's a racist piece of shit. But I have family in New York, so my family knew Donald Trump when he was a 1970s daddy's Nepo baby piece of shit who was being racist to old black ladies. So, like, but for you guys who were like, hey, it's the TV guy. And what I've always said is we need like a reality star who's a Nepo baby and a coastal elite to really run the presidency. That's what I've always said. I've always maintained that I need a reality star, Nepo baby, coastal elite who used to be a Democrat and now just says things I like to hear. That's the guy that needs to run shit. So it's just kind of hard when people are like, it was a slap in the face. I hear this all the time. I hear these big medians, Andrew Schultz and Toe Rogan, be like, this isn't what I voted for. And it's like, are you dumb? Do you have blinders on? How do you not understand? Like, he's the whole package. He's the ultimate grift, like there's all this stuff. So I appreciate you being honest. And that's why I said, I don't want to be mean. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about those other people. And I appreciate you, opening up and nobody be mean to her. And I'm serious about that. But they played you, they played you on the, we got to get those brown people out of the country. And you were like, that sounds good. I don't know what your one issue was, but a lot of these, like Toe Rogan was like, crime is everywhere. And I'm like, bro, you live in a mansion in Austin and you're probably surrounded by security guards all the time. Like, what do you know about going grocery shopping? And then they come out and they're like, this isn't what I voted. And it's like, no, this is this is what he said. And you were like, yes, I give you my vote. But it's good because we need people to be like, I reject this shit, Tish, I agree. You're right. And I appreciate you. Hit subscribe, Tish. Not everyone that voted for him thinks he's a god. That's what Tish said. You're right. But there is a small figment of their imagination that is like, yes, which is terrifying. KRAR, Joshua. There's plenty of drug addicts that the Republicans pushed into communities to destroy them. Yeah, I mean, yeah. The thing is drugs isn't political. Stop making it political, man. If anyone's a drug addict, Don Jr., who looks, some say, to be actively doing it, to Hunter Biden, addiction doesn't care about your. This is what I try to teach people. Take off the red and blue hat. Stop trying to own people in the country. We need to tax wealth. If you want to know what the problem is in America right now, and if you're like egg price, gas price, well, I'm going to break it down as simple as I can. There's certain people that have all the money. They won capitalism, and now, because they have so much money, they're like, what else can we do? Let's see if anybody can restrain us. We'll just bomb boats we say, trust me, bro, it was not a good boat. We'll kidnap people. We'll send the American military to American cities. Like, nobody's stopping them. And they're doing that because you can't satiate them. They have all the money. You'd think, like, you or I, if we got all the money, I'd be like, fuck, I'm buying a jet ski. You'll never hear from me again. Like, I'm going to eat coconuts and ride on jet skis, and I will be happy as a clam. I'd still do the live stream, if you're going to be honest. I would still do it from a jet ski. And these people, because my theory is a lot of them are balding. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Tim Pool, Charlie Kirk, right? He's balding. His forehead is just growing. That's all. Some of them are doing gender affirming thing. Donald Trump puts his head on other men's bodies. Elon Musk got all the hair planted on his head. Tim Pool wears a little tight hat. But not only are they balding, but their parents never said, like, hey, I love you. Their parents never hugged them, especially their dad. So now they're like, not only do I have to prove I have all the money, but I got to really make these people know who has the power. And it's like, it's not really power. It's just unrestricted brattiness. Like, you're always throwing a tantrum, like today in the news. Like, if people boo him, you can't show it on TV. Like, that's a real thing in the news. You can't tell me the guy who tweets this, this guy who tweets fake photos of himself. But then the next day, they're like, you can't show any booing. You have to censor the boos, or you make the president sad. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a tough guy. All right, we got to talk about Paula Deen real quick. Beanie Boy Pool. Yeah. Old Timothy above ground Pool. One day he'll have that in-ground money. What a creep, too. I watched some of the deep dives, R.M. Brown, breaking down the Timmy Pool stuff, and he built a skate park to, I don't know, lure people to his lair. But it's just weird. Ego. Yes, Joshua, ego. Josh says ego. Yes, parents in childhood is key. Young adults, not children. Wait. We were born Goyle or Boyle? What? In that name of himself, I think it's disgusting that he was wearing a Confederate Army hat. Was he? Wait a minute. What? I didn't even notice that. Holy Martha. Oh my God, is that a Confederacy? Back in the Confederacy days, they would wear stupid hats like that, I think. And the other guys would wear the old, not before Ashton Kutcher made the trucker hat popular, they had a different kind of, like a Cuban style hat. Viva la Che. That's interesting, Martha. I didn't realize that. We got to put that, you put that on Reddit. Martha, that was really good. Where's Martha? Martha, fucking high five for today. That was cool. Martha Hames. I like that comment. Cavalry hat. Yeah, he put on an old Confederate cavalry hat. Not realizing the Confederacy, if you're new to the channel, we state it plain as day. If you brag about your heritage, just know your heritage was treasonous foreign enemies of the United States of America. That's why they were the Confederacy, because they seceded because they wanted to have slavery states' rights to have slavery, if you're one of those people. You like to really get into the details of no. And they were traitors to America. Anyways, burn all the Confederate flags and then let your dogs poop on them. OPOC 666. I am proud of my heritage. My ancestors defended the witches at the Salem witch trial. Ooh, that's right down the street from me. And it was more of like a religious trial, because there were no judges. The judges were the religious people of the day, and they were all innocently accused. One of the saddest stories is Giles Corey, who was like an 80-year-old. I didn't know they lived to 80 back then, but Giles Corey, who has a memorial over here, he was crushed to death, pressed to death. Only person in American history to be pressed to death. They lay a board over you, they keep putting on stones, and this old man who was a pillar of the community but went to a different church at the time, we can get into this at a whole different period, they pressed him to death trying to get a confession that him and his wife were a witch. They took out both those old people. And when the sheriff, who was putting on more and more stones, they said, "Any last words?" And he said, "More weight." That is one of the most hardcore things I've ever heard. So, we know Joe Rogan wouldn't be saying it. What are you going to do? My grandma died in prison at 76, accused as a witch. Carol Lee, where do you live? Like Transylvania? What? Your grandma died in prison accused of a witch? Where was this? My God. We need to hear that story. I'm in Vermont, many witch trials, sad history, beautiful history, yeah. Yeah, us New Englanders and old Englanders know all about the horrific history of witches. You're in Salem? Ann Foster. So not your grandmother. Let's say like we're talking 1600s here, so I don't know how old you are, but I don't think it's your but I get what you're saying. You're great. Oh, so you're in my neck of the woods, Carol Lee. This is good to have another witch here. 10th. Okay. That's why I was wondering, Carol Lee, because when you said my grandmother, I said, how old are you? Are you immortal? Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Why do facts make you think someone is bitter? Oh, you know what? Oh, I deleted it. I had a great quote from George Carlin. It said, people like when you're honest, except when you're honest to them, then they call you an asshat. There are different... are you heavier than a duck? Death! I love the one, it's so demented. These ancient people were interesting. The one where they're like, we take the accused witch, right? And we dump her underwater. And if she floats, she's a witch. So we end her. And if she doesn't float, she's not a witch, but she drowns. Like, I hate to laugh at that, but I'm like, was there nobody at the time who was like, I think this is like a flawed way to do it. Guys, is anybody seeing what I'm seeing? You know, like that's a bit I would love to do. Where they're like 16th, 15th, 17th century. And they're like, this is how we're going to figure out if they're witches. And somebody's just like, just guys, I just got one note. Okay. Let's see. Canceled. The Paula Deen story. Disgraced TV chef offers a full serving of excuses in new doc. This is from the Fine Print. Interesting that this article covered it. I saw it and I just thought it was funny because I remember this old broad. And I didn't like her. Some people say she used too much butter. I think not enough butter. But it's an interesting story. And it goes into the movie, and her sons are in it. And then Dean was asked if she had used the N-word before. Yes, of course. She gave some evasive context, but it wasn't like she used it in deposition or was caught using it. Reading the deposition now, Dean comes across more naive, ignorant, as naive, ignorant, and a part of a certain generation of Southern upbringing. Remember, the Confederacy was traitorous to the United States, but her scandal was adjacent to far more graphic scandals involving Dwayne the Dog Chapman, Mel Gibson. And I think it's so funny that I don't know if she's trying to cash in on this or what, but this sentence right here. Reading the deposition now, Deem comes across as naive, ignorant, and a part of a certain generation of Southern upbringing. I'm like, is that what the documentary is supposed to do? Just be like, hey guys, she was part of the Confederacy. Look, what do you, this is what they did. They became un-American to try to keep doing that. It's crazy, so don't watch it, or I won't. You can, but it sounds like a waste of time. And don't forget, all you Trump supporters, remember when you guys were like, release your birth certificate? Well, everybody's saying release the files and prove you're not a file, PH file, but release the F files. See, I think Trump got confused. He released the PH file, and he was like, Ghislaine, you go to a nicer prison. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I wish you well. That's what Trump said. And we were like, no, release the F files. And he was like, oh, not going to happen. The FBI is still trying to cross my name out of it. So don't forget, when you support Trump, you support censorship. Imagine if they censored every time you guys tried to say, let's go, Brandon. Man, how mad would you guys be? You guys would be like, you can't even let us say, let's go, Brandon. I just paid Don Jr. for this cool shirt that says, let's go, Brandon, so people can know how I feel in this coded language because I'm a free speech warrior and I believe you should say what you feel, but I say it in code. Do you see the levels of hypocrisy? If it wasn't real life, it would be hilarious. I don't know how to explain that. Sassy Mo's here. Good to see you. Sassy Mo. Crash. Always good to see you, Joshua. Michelle is making a man. Is McCrere? I don't know that word. M-K-R-E. Chris Rhodes. Okay, so I stumbled through a few of these. Your life must be pretty good because you're only ever crying about the same one thing. Oh, Chris. That same one thing would be the fall of the capitalist empire. And I don't know, Chris, if you paid attention to the last election. Maybe you didn't. No, you did, because you definitely voted for Trump. With a name like that, Chris. Not all Chris's, but that one. People voted for the economy, and now the economy's worse. I don't know. I didn't take an Econ 101 course, but now they're spending, where is it? Now they're spending $1 billion to just change the name of the Department of Defense. And I don't know how that helps the economy. Donald Trump gave Amazon and Tesla and Microsoft and Apple all a tax cut, permanent tax cut. And wasting our money on his golf trips, changing the Department of Defense name, opening pop-up prisons. We have pop-up prisons in America now. And you guys voted just for egg prices to go down. So I don't know. I don't want to call you stupid, but maybe I'll do it with glasses on. Stop being stupid, Chris, and look around. For someone that ran on ending war. Oh yeah, there was a good meme, but I didn't want to bring it up because I thought I've been saying this for so long, it's just stupid. For someone who is like, for the people who are like, well, he's never started a war. Yeah, the guy who wears the Confederate flag on a hat on another man's body, gender affirming body, okay? He's got to do gender affirming photos. That's what this is, folks. Okay? Hold on, I'm trying to make a circle. That's what this is. If you were against gender affirming care, then say Elon Musk, why did you gender affirm your hair on? And why does he gender affirm his body? Because if you looked at that rotund Santa Clausian, like I always want to say, I thought you people were supposed to be jolly, like when you're that big and round. And I'm just talking about his ankles, I'm just describing the ankles. I always want to go, I thought you were supposed to be jolly at that size of ankles, Supposed to walk into a room and go, ho, ho, ho. Right? But I didn't want to bring it up because there's people like, I'm just a one-issue person and he never started a war. And then he's like tweeting, I'm going to war with Chicago and I'm going to spend your tax money to change the name. You know, because pronouns are dumb, but Defense makes it sound like we're pronoun users. Department of War. And I'm going to use all your tax dollars to pay my friends to scrape it off the buildings. I wonder how those one-issue people feel right now. Diana Bananer. Good last name, because you talk like a banana. Imagine a nice Sunday afternoon and you have time to spend talking crap. I said crap, Linda. Did you hear me? I heard you, Diana. You typed that stuff about a president and making up crap. Lame as hell. Get a life and a hobby. Well, bitch, this is my life and my hobby. So good! But Diana, here's the thing. This is actually a church service. So if you donate, it will be... No, I'll pay my taxes on it. I'm going to one-up the church. If you donate, I will pay taxes on it just to shove it in Joel Osteen's face. Just to try to press them. Be like, hey, I'm paying my taxes for Jesus, Joel. But there it is. Diana. You go tell Linda. I know she's sitting over in the corner ripping butts going, you tell him. That's our president. And I say, not my president. Here's the thing, Diana Banana. I'm not talking crap. What I'm saying is you have a president, not my president. Remember when you guys used to say that? And like, I don't know what you thought, but you used to say that. Used to say it seriously. Not my president. This is what Donald, the J, if you're new here, the J, he puts it plain sight. The J stands for Donald Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, Trump. That's what the J stands for, folks. Donald Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, Trump. This is what he put out on Truth Social. So it's not talking crap. I'm saying the people who were a one-issue voter, those people exist. They didn't pick the right issue, though. You know, that's the thing. If you were a one-issue voter and you're like, listen, I was friends with Epstein, and like that's your excuse, well, I don't even get it, because I'm like, oh, God, can't we revoke their right to vote? Oh. But this is just news, folks. This is the newsmentary. This is your president saying, I'm invading Chicago. And by the looks of it, you're not a Chicagoan, are you? But let Linda know you stood up. Tell him. Say, I stood up for Donald Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, Trump. Let her know. Say, I did it, Linda. I told him. I told him, what a lame. Get a job and a hobby and a life. And don't talk about my president. Well, I'm not going to shut up. Okay, we got a lot of work to do, folks. $66 minimum wage, no medical debt, free health insurance. And when I say free, some people will agree, okay, our taxes should fund it. I say billionaires' taxes should fund it. I say we tax wealth, not work. Linda supports a guy who taxes workers, not wealthy people. Guys, again, I didn't take an Econ 101 course, but here's the thing, guys. If you're worried about the economy, there's only certain people hoarding all the money. And hint, hint, it's not the immigrants. I've never seen an illegal immigrant, what you call them, do the layoffs, as you guys all got upset about the job numbers. Remember when he fired the person who reported the job numbers? Well, guys, it wasn't the immigrants who were making the bad jobs. It turns out him and his buddy Elon, gender-affirming hair care, and gender-affirming Elon, him and gender-affirming Elon, like, laid off thousands of government workers. They spent $14 billion to tell government workers to stay home. And then they were like, what? Job numbers are bad? What? Tariffs are making companies not hire and fire people? What? So, you know, I know this is crazy. And again, I didn't take an Econ 101 course, but if you guys think the economy sucks, just wait until the rich people have all the money, okay? Like, that's what they've been gradually doing for the past 2,500 years that America's been America. And it hasn't worked so far. So I don't know why you guys keep defending them. We need to tax wealth. The people who have so much, they're like, what could rent cost, Michael? $1 billion? I don't know. My dishwasher pays my mortgage for me. She has my card. You know, like, those are the people that are ruining the country, the wealthy, that are not paying taxes, not paying. When you run over a pothole, you thank Jeff Bezos for paying less in taxes than you did. Okay? That's what you do. Every time you hit a pothole, you go, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeffrey Bezos. Because I hate to break it to you, but if they're extracting all this money, they have the most of it. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. We're going to have a trillionaire soon, and you guys are concerned about the poorest people? It's fucking dummies. When they're extracting all the money out and then not paying taxes back in, because that's how like things operate around here, you know, we're paying our fair share, they're not paying their fair share. It's going to get progressively worse. And when you want to go, oh, I support my local business, which you don't care, because Elon Musk can't drive around in a Cybertruck and support all your local businesses. You and we are 70% of the economy. Consumer purchasing power is 70% of the economy. So if you want local businesses to thrive and not everyone have to be forced to shop at Walmart because they have the lowest prices made in China, then you would want your neighbors. Remember what we said. It is Sunday. So remember what we said, folks. What did Jesus say the greatest command was? First, love your Lord. Love our Lord is one Lord. And then where did he say? He said, and then this is the second. You shall love unselfishly. Love your neighbor as yourself. So maybe just some of you guys aren't loving yourself very well. Maybe you're like, yeah, if I get sick, I want to go into debt and have to sell my home. Which I say stop saying that. Don't say that about yourself, okay? I don't say it about you. In fact, that's my whole live cast, my whole pod stream. The whole Rob Hood Vision Quest is like, guys, if we can all agree, if all of us get together and say, the government should run our healthcare with taxes, like you do the VA. For those of you who go, oh, you want the government to run it? Get ready. Well, they already do like the VA. And what I want to do is take all the ideas from the great places around the world that already have this, because all the other world places have this. And I want to steal all their ideas and make our healthcare better than them. So when you guys say we make America the best, that means healthcare, education, living standards. We're paying more for health insurance and our life expectancy is dropping. Again, that's not me saying it. That's the fucking numbers, folks. So, again, some dumb beats. Good to see you. VA is still better than private, 100%. And we look at countries around the world. For the people who go, oh, well, the VA is bad. Well, guess what? I'm trying to show you that the government already runs a healthcare system. It's possible. Because we hear, so many of you are naysayers. And you know what? I've had enough. Time out with you. So I'm just here to tell you there's a better tomorrow. But not if you keep supporting Epstein's best friend. Okay? Okay. Just look at his history. Look at his history. I want you to go right now. Go get on Google and look up Donald Trump casino Taj Mahal. Okay? I want you to type all that in and see how he treated his casino, which should have been a moneymaker. Okay? You be my witness. That's what my Bible just told me. You will be my witnesses. We will make this country better. Okay? The crow says so. Before the crow caws 3 times. We will make this country better. And there's another problem. See, Jason's pointing out the other problem. Jason Tuttle from the great Tuttle family. They create little Tuttles. I don't know if you've ever seen a little Tuttle. Ticklish little things. Jason Tuttle says, me and my family have great health care. I cannot complain. So what we need from everybody is to love your neighbor unselfishly as yourself. So if you have it, you should want it for everybody else. Again, not my words. That's Jesus, your Lord and Savior, my Lord and Savior. Some of you, not your Lord and Savior. But either way, respectable as a good guy saying cool shit. He was laundering Russian mafia money through his hotels and casinos. Cage, he was also having his daddy, Fred Trump, whole story, we did it on a live stream, having his daddy, Fred Trump, cash checks at the casino as an illegal loan. That's what the court said, not me. Oh, there you go. Some dumb beats. Pretend your payment for healthcare is a tax, but you'd actually pay less in tax if instead. I pay so much that, I wish they just taxed it out of me. Jesus Christ. Okay, a lot of work to do, America, but we start with this. You shall unselfishly love your neighbor as yourself. Okay, thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. And for all of you who might have gotten a timeout of 24 hours, I don't want you complaining in my comments. I keep seeing that. Okay, I'm not doing the timeouts, but I support them. Okay? Okay. Lady, you're an idiot. Bye. Supported. Though I didn't get to read too much of it, but there's a lot of them roaming around out there with their Toe Rogan polio experience program on, being like, we should just invest in saunas. Healthcare should be sauna and elk meat. That's like the whole program. Tuttles from the trailer park? Which trailer park? There's a lot of them. U.S. can afford to pay free healthcare for all. Yes, Mildred Franks, thank you. That's what I'm talking about. If we just tax billionaires and everybody had to be content being a 999 millionaire, there were some people funny the other day. They were so funny. They were adorably funny and like very stupid. But they were like, oh, so you want a maximum wage? You can't cap people at what they can make. And I said, oh, goddamn right, I can't. This is my imagination. And in my America, no one becomes a billionaire. Once you hit 999 million, suck it. You just got to be that rich. And people are like complaining like you're ever going to get there. Shut up. And then with all that money over 999,000 billion, that goes into paying for kids' cancer. Huh? What are you, against kids' cancer? You want all the kids to have cancer? Jerk. Michael O, good to see you. Best healthcare insurance I had was when I was on state-run healthcare in Oregon. It's still through a private provider, but they, subsidize it the best, or whatever the economists say. But yeah, we can do it. We can do it, folks. FICO scores. We can do it, you FICO scores. By the way, don't forget, credit score wasn't invented until 1989, so we should probably throw that in the garbage. We tried it. It didn't work. It's only made it harder. Nobody's buying more homes. Nobody's got more cars. Everything's got more expensive. Let's throw away the credit scores. They were just recently invented. I know there's some of you boom millennials, or what do they call them, Gen Zoomers, that don't know this because you were born in 1989 and one day. But they invented the credit score in 1989. So throw it all away. Throw it the fuck out of here. Good news, can't afford housing, so credit score doesn't matter. That's how most of us live our lives right now. But I just like to, just for shits and giggles, I just want to destroy the credit score and put FICO, Allstate, Transnationals, or whatever, all those three big ones, Experian, Gateway Computers, whoever's running the credit scores right now, I just want to see them go out of business. That's my one wish for my birthday. Blow out the candles. So, I think, yeah, not perfect, but crazy thing is when the government has to pay for it, suddenly they care more about price gouging. Yeah. And if you know anything about Rick Scott, the Florida person, Slender Man, as I call him, I get them confused. You'd know. He biggest fraud in America. He didn't care about the pricing, but maybe we could have people pay attention to it so he doesn't get elected ever again. RV. My pops told me about the times before credit score. It was simple. All you had to do, it was simple. If you had cash, it was a go. Well, that's the thing. They used to pay people in money, not Bitcoin, okay? And you used to work one job, preferably a union job, and your wife or your husband or whatever you preferred would be at home, and you go, honey, I just bought the house because we got the Christmas bonus. And everything I just said, you're like, what is that language? And that used to be a thing. That used to be here in America. One person would be working and they'd, college educated, working, or not college educated and just be a janitor. And they'd be like, I just bought my home. Let's go on vacation because I got a Christmas bonus. And now saying that, people are like, you radical left wokist. I'm like, I'm just describing the 80s. Shut up. So yeah. Cheryl, Warren Buffett purchased a lot of the state of Idaho. Yeah, Warren Buffett, China, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, they own everything. Are we going to start worrying now about it? You know? Like, we got to tax them first, and then we can worry about what they've bought. They own everything, folks. Everything. From your movies that you thought you bought on Amazon, which Amazon just last week, I talked about this. They said, we don't think people mean own it when they buy it. We thought they knew that they're buying it to own it as long as we have the licensing. So yeah, I don't care. They could buy all of America. It doesn't make a difference. You're making my point. This is what I think about it. If Warren Buffett or Warren Gates or Warren Musk or any of those guys are all interchangeable, bought everything in America, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't. And my point is they have so much money, they're like, let's just fucking buy Idaho, guys. And what are we going to do? You're going to vote for Trump again and be like, he'll make them stop buying Idaho? Like, my point is like, once you hit billionaire, you have so much money, you're like, I don't know, do we go to space? Do we try to get the government tax money to go to space with? I don't know. What do you say we make satellites? Like, they have so much money. Elon Musk is a dumb man. And he's like, we're going to go to Mars. And people are like, yeah, let's go to Mars. And it's like, Mars, human bodies can't live on Mars, okay? You'd have to live deep underground. Like, nobody wants to fucking go to Mars. If you do, Elon, please go. My tax dollars, it's a one-way trip, just go. Get the fuck out of here. And people are like, really like, we're going to go to Mars. And it's like, shut the fuck up. You can't live on Mars as a human. You just can't. That's why we're not there. That's why we're never going there. And Earth is so rad. But these people, to the commenter who's like, hey, heard Warren Buffett buying up Idaho. Like, this is my point. This is the point I make every day. They have so much money. They're like, I don't know. I have like too much money. Bill Gates has a foundation where he's trying to give away all his money by the year 2045. Talked about it here. They have so much money that they're like, should we just buy Idaho? And the thing is Donald Trump is trying to put our national parks up for sale. And if you're like, well, that's crazy. These billionaires are like, oh, great. We could fucking buy the national parks and then put like an Amazon Prime sign on Old Faithful, Old Yeller, whatever the geyser's called. Like, they have too much money. And at the same time, we read about stories where like they're like, in Alabama, a kid did a fucking lemonade stand all summer so his other friend wouldn't have school debt. Like, do you guys hear the problem? It's not immigrants. It's not gay people. It's not black or brown people. Like, you guys hear the problem. There are some people with so much money, they're like, I'm going to buy Idaho. And then the news doesn't cover it. The news won't cover like, hey, these rich people are buying all the land and assets. And the news is like, I don't know. I think this big, beautiful bill kicking all those people off of healthcare unless they work is probably pretty smart. You know, they should be working. Don't be lazy. And it's like, well, I think some guy just bought my state and I live in Idaho. Brought to you by Berkshire Hathaway. I don't know. That's why libertarians, if anyone says they're a libertarian, I'm like, you fucking dummies. All right. Thanks for the question, though. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Don't forget. Love your neighbor unselfishly. Much love.